Hey guys, I just want to take another 10 minutes of your day. I just want to go through this, which I think is quite important, especially for new watch collectors into the journey. Just be with me, I'm going to walk you through it, okay? So today we'll talk about water resistance. Now, a couple disclaimers I'm going to say before the following contents of this video, okay? Number one, if you're concerned about your water resistance on your watches, bring it to Seiko, bring it to your trusted watchmakers or watch repairer. Make sure the watch is checked before your diving journey if you're going to take your automatic watches with you. Okay, that's going to be my disclaimer because there are many things involved with the integrity of the watch resistance. Okay, but today's video is just based on myself as the average Joe when it comes to my hobby. I'm very new to the game, of my understanding and the confusion and the struggling that I have with my watches in my early experiences as a watch collector, really as a Seiko collector. Okay, so today we'll talk about water resistance. Number one, the material that we've used, I've downloaded these from Seiko directly. I've made sure this is the updated version of their water resistance. Of course, the front part of the paragraph really talk about, you know, the standard practice to make sure how to look after watches while following moisture and things like that you gotta follow some of the basic principles. So of course the other one is, do not wash the watch under water when the crown is pulling out. Of course, those little details which I think that you're already very familiar with. Okay, make sure your crowns are pushed in. If you're using a screw down crown watch such as XK, make sure you screw the crown all the way in as well. Okay, so but today I want to focus on this chart here, which I don't believe everyone's familiar with, but guaranteed this is public information. Everybody has access to. All you gotta do is Google it. Just type in a Seiko water resistant chart, and this particular web page will come out. Okay, now a couple of things I want to point out is most of the young watch collectors that's just come into the hobby. We rely on information based on other YouTubers and what people saying in their channel. But guys, the original information that is summarized by the watchmaker actually factual information. You want to rely on this, not on me, not on them. You want to come back to the source of information, of course. Easy to read. Of course, you see your water resistance level here, 30 meters to 50 meters, 100 meters to 150 meters, 200 meters, of course the 20 bar, and then we'll have the divers 200, and then we'll have the professional 1,000 meters. Okay, so that's the water resistance level, and then we'll have the applications. If you look at this in terms of spectrum, the everyday thing that you see that your watch potentially will contact with water, accidental splashes. For example, you're washing dishes, or you're playing with water in with your kids by simply using a garden hose, things like that, and then contact with rain. And then next, of course, naturally you have in the swimming pool, you on a boat, or you're taking a shower. Of course, that I can actually question whether this is a cold shower or hot shower, of course, because the hot shower will create steams. And the next one, you have bathing and shallow diving. Of course, we don't know how shallow that is, but imagine in order to dive, you need to be sort of deeper than your height. So you're looking about potentially up to 5 meters. All right, that's just the way I see. Scuba diving, then we're looking at recreational scuba diving. That's between of course beyond 5, maybe 10 or 15 meters. Again, guys, I'm not the expert in this. If you guys are divers, you have experiences you watch, happy to share your experiences and the education for all of us. Put in the comments below, please. And the last one, of course, in the very extreme of the spectrum, we have the saturation diving, which again becomes a lot deeper than the scuba diving. Now, when it comes to myself, those day-to-day activities with water probably represent 99.999% of my use. The deepest ocean that ever gone was about 15 meters. That's about a decade ago. Okay, I didn't wear a watch back in that time. Okay, but of course you're looking at scuba diving on that, and sometimes divers care about this, right? But again, if you experience divers, this information is not going to be informative to you because you already know that. Okay, this is pretty much for newcomers like myself, very new to the hobby, just want to have a peace of mind when you're wearing watches, so you don't worry about your water resistance all the time. Okay, now guys, pay attention to this. I remember very clearly by some very well-known YouTubers when they're covering the new Seiko. I'm just talking about one particular watch for the argument's sake. Okay, so which is this is of course the SRPJ47, the new releases that happened last few months. The Sonata, but of course we know this is the 5KX. Okay, so the main differences between 5KX and SKX, carrying the same shape, is losing that ISO 200 divers as a certification. So this, instead of a screw down crown, this is using a pull-out crown. Okay, so you push it in to maintain that water resistance. Just to be clarified, the water resistance of this watch is 10 bar. I'm pretty sure it's right there. There you go, right in the 12 o'clock position. Water resistance 10 bar. So I remember those videos by very well-known YouTubers. The moment they're mentioning the 10 bar, which is here, the 10 bar here, straight away they start not downgrading, but they start putting a 10 bar as being non-water resistant. They start saying 10 bar is not going to get you anywhere. You're going to be careful with water. You're going to be careful when you jump in the pool and things like that. At least that's the impression sort of those YouTubers give me, and I guarantee a lot of other sort of young collectors out there as well. Okay, but guys, if we compare the 10 bar, which is here, to SKX, and of course, as we know, the MM200, most of the watches here in my collection, a lot of them are MM200, which is the diver's watch. Of course, just give you guys a clarification. So you see the 20 bar there and the 200. This 20 bar means 200 meters as well. Okay, such as my SNA 411, the Flighty, that is a 20 bar with the screw down, a chronograph, push down crown, and the pushers. But that is not a diver 200. That is a 220 bars. The difference between those two is the diver's watch 200 is ISO certified. Diver's watch, very similar to, I can, just for example, an industry that you're working on, saying, the particular product or line of services is satisfied based on ISO certification, means there's a very specified test in standard that particular product has to fit in order to call it diver's watch 200. Okay, so for example, to give you guys a very clear, so we have so you can see this under this patty dial, this SRP 99 patty turtle, we have diver's 200. Okay, you can see that under the patty, under the automatic, diver's 200. Okay, so this is a diver's 200. Of course, the SKX is a diver's 200 as well. So let me just show you this chart. You can see the 10 bar, which is the 5KX, or many other diver style the Seiko watches are, can sustain accidental splashes in contact with rain, and it's okay with swimming and on a boat and taking a shower. Okay, so there is tick here, and even you can take that 10 bar watch into bathing and shallow diving. So there you go. If you go on a holiday that you're not going for a deep dive, you're not going to go deeper than 3 or 4 meters, your 10 bar watch is fine, guys. I'm not sure what it did. I certainly didn't know this clearly until I saw this chart that is published and agreed by Seiko. Okay, moving along, of course, the 10 bar watch is not going to be okay with scuba diving. Okay, so we know that in the bottom of our heart anyway. Okay, now you compare the diver's watch 200, you can see, of course, the first one is fine, swimming is fine, bathing and shallow diving is fine, which is here. So really, the only additional capacity that it has as a diver is scuba diving. Okay, so I'm just going to put it here. So the only differences between a diver's 200 and our is really $120 5KX is scuba diving. So we can draw a conclusion now. Unless you're going to a resort, or you're going to wear some equipment going for that scuba diving, which can be again 10-15 meters deep, you don't need to wear one of those. If you don't like it, if you can't afford it, or for whatever reason, don't wear one of those, because you don't need to. 5KX is fine. Okay, guys, 5KX is fine. I'm gonna make that very clear. If there's anything wrong with the watch, let's say you bought a watch from AD, you took the watch into about 4 meters dive, and of course you're swimming with it, you go to ocean with it, you play sand with it, and the water's got in, then you can happily bring that brand new watch to Seiko and say, guys, I follow your chart. I went to shallow diving between 3 and 5 meters. I didn't do any scuba diving. The water got in. I made sure the crown was fully pushed in, but the water still got in. based on this, Seiko will get it sorted for you. Okay, guys? So I want to make that point very clear, because I think a lot of people still don't understand the difference between a 10 bar and a 200. The divers is really not much at all. Okay, of course, if you're passionate about divers, you're already having a piece like this in your bag, which of course I'm not going to talk about. It's a brilliant watch. Okay, turtles are the best. Now, in order to cover the rest of the information, I've particularly picked a few watches that pretty much match what's in here. Number one, we're just going to go through them quickly. I don't have any non-water resistant. Of course, you know what they are. I don't need to talk about it. Okay, so first, 3-bar. Very popular watch here. SNXS79. Of course, it's the Rolex Datejust Killer. I'm not sure what this is. Datejust Killer. It's certainly a very nice watch, that's for sure. A few of the very well-known YouTubers, they had a great reviews done on it. Look, the watch is extremely small but very elegant. You should see that anthracite dial. It's going to be one of the future classic. Of course, this watch is not going to be. It's not going to be $500 one day, but now I do see that they're trading upwards of 200, 250. Of course, if you can get a Let's do a close-up dial. If you can do a J version on the watch, I think that's worth in your collection. If you got a spare $200 laying around, 7S movements, of course, all that kind of old stuff, but very traditional looking, and I kind of like it. Okay, now focus on what we're going to talk about. Okay, so this watch, okay, it has. You see that right there? It has water resistance stainless steel. It doesn't have the. It doesn't have the. It doesn't specify whether it's the 30 meters, but I'm pretty sure it is, right? Because I remember it's one of the, when people doing pros and cons of this watch, 30-meter water resistance being the main con to it. But guys, you know what? That's a day-to-day watch. If you're wearing, if you want to pick something funky, pick something, stylish at the same time, you're not afraid of losing it. If you're wearing to a restaurant, take your partner, take your spouse out, you want to give it to your spouse. Something small. My wife loved this watch, right? Oh, sorry, I almost lose my thing. Don't be afraid of it, because I'm gonna show you what this is on the 30-meter resistance. It can sustain. So, for example, a glass of water poured on your watch. Of course, you want to make sure that pull crown is pushed all the way in. Don't be afraid. A glass of water is not gonna damage your watch. Okay, if it is raining out there, of course, not pouring rain, of course, right? I probably will be okay with average amount of rain drops. Looking at how to calculate that, right? About 10 mil, 20 mil in 24 hours. That's how you standardize the amount of rain, right? This is fine. The 30-meter watch is fine. If you're wearing this watch, to your workplace, have a bit of fun. Friday afternoon, you take the watch out. Don't be afraid of checking your watches and making sure the crowns are screwed in, or if it is raining, if you get next to a bar or kitchen table, don't be afraid of covering this watch. This watch, the lume is fantastic. Okay, just to give you that. Okay, excellent lume. Don't be afraid of it. Use it. It's fun. You can wash dishes with it. It can sustain splashes. And of course, if considered Seiko as a brand overall, they are really a brand that is under-promising and over deliver. Okay, so 30-meter water resistance is okay when it comes to day-to-day life. Okay, moving on. The second one that on the chart, so we talk about the 30 meters. I'll just take it right there. The second one, we're going to talk about 50 meters. Okay, so 5-bar. The only 5-bar watch that I have in my collection, I'm pretty sure it's a 5-bar, is this beautiful. I haven't done a detailed video on this yet, but I think it's a future icon. Okay, Seiko Raycraft. It's been going on for years, right? I believe, based on what I'm seeing now with the price moving and all that, if this watch has not been discontinued in terms of production, it will be soon. Okay, the whole line will be. This is based on, of course, the 7S movement is too old. They're not going to do it for the next 10 years. It makes sense for them to cut the whole thing off. Of course, some of the retailers still have tons of it left, so grab one if you can. Of course, we'll talk about it in another video, but guys, just focus on the water resistant now. So water, there you go. This one has it. So guys can see right at the 12 o'clock position, water resistant 5-bar. So this is a 50-meter water resistant. Okay, guys, I love this watch. Wear speak, it looks gigantic, but I tell you what, it's got that sense of racing watch retro style. That green, that sunburst with that gold indices and that orange secondhand. This watch is beautiful. Okay, I can wear this all day long. Of course, let's go back to the water resistant. Okay, so if you're wearing this, let's say you go to the restaurant, you hang out with your friends in the summertime, you're getting close to beach, you want to wear it on a board. That, of course, because this watch doesn't have any lume, you probably want to jump in the pool if you're in a friend's house. Should you worry about it? Okay, 5 bar. Of course, it's going to cover the 3 bar, which is actually the splashes and contact ring. Fine, day-to-day wear is fine. But look, it extends straight away to the second column. Swimming, yachting, boat. You go fishing, even taking a shower, guys. So really, unless you go bathing, which is fully submerged, I've got to cover that point. I think it's got to do with the water resistant a lot. Bathing means you submerge your watch consistently under the water. Of course, the pressure is really the thing that when it comes to water resistant. Okay, so swimming, you go to your friend's house. You want to have a bit of fun. Your friend's taking out for a boat, catching a few fishes. You're taking a shower. You forgot to take the watch off. Don't be worried having this piece on your wrist, okay? 50 water meter resistance is really good for 99% of your day-to-day life. It's fine. Just don't take it out in the ocean if you want to do a dive on it. But Monday to Friday, on the weekends, being with your kids, get into the swimming pool, it's going to be your perfect companion. Don't worry about it. Of course, making sure the push-pull crown so they're pushed in. You can do a bit of turn on it, and once you give it a shake, you can see that second hand's moving. It's a beautiful watch, guys. Okay, so we'll cover the 50 meters. The next naturally will be the 100 meters of this 5KX. We'll talk about really covers everything you need. 5KX is fine. We extend to another column right there, which is the bathing and shallow diving. So even you wear, guys, again, I'm not gonna wear it into a hot tub, right? But if you're gonna do a pool plunge, or if you're gonna have quite a bit of time spent in the pool, I will not be worried that at all, especially if you're buying a brand new Seiko, because all the seal, the gas is gonna be perfect, of course, right? So 100-meter water resistance is gonna cover up to there, perfect. We'll move to the 15 bar. I don't have any, so 15 bar means 150 meters. Some of the Presagens, the old Sharps, I think have 15 bars. The Sharp 033 and the 035 use 10 bars as well, just for your information, okay? So after 15 bar, we'll move to the 20 bar, which we'll talk about here. So that's where watches such as Flighty that I talk about, right? The Flightmaster comes in. They're not a 200 divers watch, but it's the 20 bar. Okay, so it's fine. All the way up to here. So really, from a water resistance standpoint, of course, this has been through a lot of tests and all that, right? So you can see there's no difference between 10, 15, and 20 bar. They're the same. Okay, so if you're confident enough to trust your flight in the water, you should be able to trust your Presages, and you should be able to trust your 5KS and Sharp 033 if you're wearing it. No problem whatsoever. Of course, next one naturally will have the divers 200 meters. The only thing that extends to is the scuba diving. So again, if you are a scuba diver, you know this. I don't have to tell you this, right? Pick one of those. Make sure that it's screw down crown. So one push, you're gonna have your day and day, and the other push that is gonna stop the second hand, push all the way in. The second hand start ticking, and you don't really have to use a lot of strength. Just naturally give a bit of strength towards the crown, and then that watch is gonna screw down nicely. Okay, so that's gonna give you divers 200, really all the way up to, I doubt 20-30 meters is gonna kill that watch. Again, I don't know, but scuba diving is fine. It's fine. Okay, now the last one that I have on here really is really covering that between, of course, I don't have a 1,000 meter watch yet. The only one that extension is the saturation diving. I'm kind of curious where this SBBN diver 300 will end. Again, this is my most capable divers, MM300. Of course, with this is quartz movement, same thing. Just to give you, so unscrewed it. You pull the first one lever out, it's going to be day and day, and you put the second one out, it's going to hack the hand, and you push it back in. The second hand start ticking, and then oh wow, buttery smooth. All you gotta do is then don't have to over tighten it, because there's actually a gasket and the water resistant mechanism between that as well. So you can see the crown is fully secured and screwed down. This watch is going to be fine. I can guarantee, I mean, most of the divers out there, if you want to be serious about your watch and feel extra confident, just grab one of those and you'll be all set. Of course, I know you can get 600, MM600, MM1000, but I doubt I'll get there. Maybe not now, but 300 is well enough for me. Okay, so guys, hopefully this video concludes. Sorry it's a bit long, but I just want to take the time to explain to you in a way that I understand it. I just don't want to be stressing up on my watches. I want to be, because I've got kids, you know, I've got a wife, we're going, you know, next to water, next to swimming pool, we've got a pool here, we're going to beaches sometimes, we'll play in the sand. I just want to be confident, no matter what watches I pick, I have a peace of mind that I know these watches will be protected and they will be healthy and they will be fine. Of course, if your watch has been in your collection for many years, you do want to bring them to your watchmaker to check it out. Make sure you know, the seals, the gasket, everything is fresh and sealed before you doing your water adventure, you know, get in the ocean for baths and things like that. Okay, but guys, okay, that concludes of my water resistance watch talk tip for today. I hope that's been informative. It's really just the standard, very common knowledge. Hopefully I didn't waste too much time. But guys, wear your watches with all the happiness, and hope you have a great time with your watches, and no doubt I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye guys.